in the studio, but it's not helping with the heat of the political discussion we are having. And thank you so much for your feedback. 2242 is the SMS line. Hashtag is Newsnight. This is what Kenyans are saying. Fred Osiro says, for a process that was meant to unite the country, it's quite ironical how the Building Bridges document has evoked two opposite extreme opinions. And for the proponents, why does it look like so much time is being spent for it to pass? Okay, we'll get a response from David Murathe on that. PM Lamek says, all these political parties lack crystal clear manifestos. They seem to have nothing tangible to offer. Actually, formation of political parties is based on tribal grounds rather than economic development. When will we have only two political parties like the US or the United Kingdom? All right, let's look at another one here. Alex Mayore says, to Kipchumba Murkomen, why does your faction refuse to make its stand clear on BBI? They dilly-dally on it. Or does the Hustler Nation know that reggae is unstoppable? Rather, why not take the no stand? If they fail, history will celebrate them for fighting for the Constitution 2010. Okay, Kipchumba, Alex Mayore wants to hear that from you. While Mbian says, please ask Murathe. They keep telling us BBI is offering Kenyans this and that. From where? Doesn't that mean more taxes? If not, what has the national government been doing with those resources if they are available now? This is what you're saying on SMS. 2242 is SMS line. Leonard from Ongata Rongai says, it's clear the boat called Kenya cannot be steered in the right direction when the ones charged with administering the party in power aren't reading from the same page as their members who are supposed to offer public service. Jubilee seems to be at war with itself. While Geshohe from Nairobi says, the truth hurts. Stop dictatorship. Explain yourself. I don't know who you're referring to there. Come out clean and tell us what went wrong between the Deputy President and the President. If there are thieves, why not arrest them and charge them in court? Keep sending in your feedback. I'll take a look at a few more of them even as we continue. Honorable Murathe, you'll hang in. Let me get a question in here to Murkomen. Murkomen, what do you make, even as you respond to the other questions, the hustlers versus dynasties narrative? We are now hearing that there is a bill, lawmakers have drafted a bill that imposes fines, possibly jail time, and makes it a basis for removal from office from any leader who propagates class divisions in the country. And class divisions could be, for example, the hustlers versus dynasties narrative. What do you make of that, Murkomen?
First of all, I do not know who is the owner of hustler versus dynasty debate. The only time I heard it once by any leader was Honorable Kamket when he said, and it was really carried all over the country in 2018, that 2022 will be about hustlers versus dynasties. For those of us who believe in the empowerment of hustlers, we have never talked about versus who or as against who. We believe that the people...
Is that fair?
That is 100% fair. You will never find a clip of William Ruto talking about hustlers versus dynasties. You will never find a clip of Kipchumba Murkomen anywhere. If you find it, take it on me. I have never talked about versus who. I always talk about the empowerment of hustlers. The conversation we have in the Hustler Nation is not about fighting other people. It's about empowering those who are at the lower cadre, who are at the lower base of the pyramid. Our idea is that if you want to make Kenya a very successful and secure society, you make sure that those who already have opportunities, those who don't have opportunities, are facilitated to have opportunities the same as those who have already had opportunity. And if you do so, those who have opportunity today and they have means and they have wealth will live a more peaceful society if you help those who are at the lower level. Our idea is not about against the dynasty. It's not about getting people things for free. In fact, the wheelbarrow ideology and the hustler ideology is about celebrating hard work and facilitating hard work. They believe that, and let me use the example of the late Simon Nyachai and the example that Deputy President gave, that Mzee Nyachai started with a posho mill and later formed a company called Kabansora, which actually mills and supplies maize and other products across the country. That is the hustler narrative. The hustler narrative is for Jomo Kenyatta, who started as a janitor, to a position where he became an industrialist and an owner of large tracts of land. The hustler nation is about Daniel Arap Moi, a man who was a teacher in somewhere in Sacho and grew through the process, being assisted by other people, being facilitated as a hustler to be where he is. William Ruto, who used to sell chicken, to be facilitated. Now he is a person who is the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Kipchumba Murkomen, a son of a squatter, and so many others. Our message is about inspiring those who started from the base. It's not about privilege. It's not about those who are going to get things easy. And at this point in time, I want to challenge Honorable Murathe.
This is the monologue.
I want to challenge Honorable Murathe that this
hustler
spirit.
Hang on, Murathe.
Hustler spirit.
Hang on, Murathe. Give him 1 minute. Finish, please.
Hustler spirit discourages the behavior of people like Murathe, who just the other day were bankrupt, and because of opportunities of government, they now supply billions to KEMSA, questionable deals, which we were told that they are going to be resolved within two months, I think. 2 months passed, the resolution was not gotten. As a nation discourages behavior of people like Murathe, who use their positions in party and government to influence contracts like the Twake contract and make billions of money from 10%, 20% of those contracts and become super rich from nowhere. That is not the spirit of Hustler Nation.
Okay.
Hustler Nation is facilitating the wheelbarrow guy, the border guy.
You've made a lot of allegations. Let him respond. Murathe, please respond to those very direct allegations made against you and your source of
wealth. Yeah, I want to start with Twake Dam. Twake Dam will provide water for irrigation, for consumption and hydro.
We're not talking about the project, we're talking about your 10%.
Done. 50% done. Kimorel and Arol, which Murkomen is the beneficiary with his party, deputy party leader, 7 billion shillings stolen without even paying for the persons affected by project. They paid insurance for a non-existent project for 20 billion. They paid a company that then declared bankruptcy. These people need to tell us where that money went, because there's no project. At least at Twake, there's a project, even if an agency agreement pays certain persons. KEMSA.
Thank you for that.
KEMSA, my friend, the 5 top companies, no, Murkomen, you had your chance. I have mine.
Thank you.
The first 5 companies which supplied KEMSA are associated with the Deputy President. Associates of the Deputy President, his wife, and the 970, they know who they are. And we have the records, and that is why this KEMSA story died, because the people they were looking for, they discovered we had nothing to do with KEMSA. I have never supplied a single mask to KEMSA. Murkomen knows who did, and he knows who Pumaes, and he knows whose company, he knows all of them. And we are going to publish, and the investigations are ongoing. EACC has it, DPP has it, DCI has it. They were trying to politicize a crisis, an emergency of COVID. They know I have never supplied not a single mask to KEMSA. They tried to link me up with a company owned by my friends who are also partners with their friends, and they know who they are. I don't want to go there. I want us to talk serious business here, Wahiga, right?
No, this is serious business,
like what I told you, because people have been engaged in corruption. They want to say it's okay to get engaged in corruption, and also the other side is corrupt. Surely, is that what we are telling Kenyans? That we are all thieves, so it's okay that Kenyans just sit back and watch the Murathe side are stealing, so it's okay for us to steal? I don't believe in that. And they know the limitations that the DCI is having. They know the people who are before the courts. They know the ministers who have been sacked. In fact, Wahiga, the ministers who were brought in by their side from 2013, literally all of them were removed from office because of cases of corruption. And you can name them. And I didn't come here to throw names, my friend Murkomen. However, we were talking about the substantive issues of our disagreement. For example, why are we mixing the BBI process with the 2022 election? Why can we not separate the BBI and give Kenyans an opportunity and a chance to weigh the pros and the cons and the advantages and the disadvantages, And when they find that the advantages are more than the disadvantages, they vote for it. If they find they are less, they vote against it. This is the same team which fought the 2010 Constitution. The 2010 Constitution, no vote was led by no other than William Samoei Ruto. And he is the same person now saying amending this one is not a priority. The American Constitution has been amended how many times? After how long? You
Very
have
difficult.
to keep on improving on this document. And please, this is the message we are telling them. If you find there is something wrong with the BBI, go to the north side. Let the majority have their way. Let the minority have their way. But you can't have your cake and eat it. You cannot come here telling people it is not a contentious thing, but at every political rally that you're addressing, you are saying BBI has derailed the Big Four. I've asked you to say one Big Four agenda which has been derailed. If anything, it is your lack for support for the agenda of the president which has slowed down. But actually nothing has stopped. The roads are happening. In fact, in some cases, they are being accelerated. Kibwezi, Kitui, Mandera, Moyale, Kisumu, Kondele. Whatever. You look at what is going on and the connectivity. But when you start every weekend hitting the rooftops, and then you go with the wheelbarrows on top of your Pajeros and your Land Cruisers, and then you take off in helicopters, and you tell people, when you talk about the TTIs, my friend, is that the TTI that was in the Jubilee manifesto to teach how people how to drive a wheelbarrow? My
Yes,
friend,
correct.
the problem is you people trying to radicalize the youth. And the reason is you are only doing that in Mount Kenya. Murkomen, when was the last time you went to Erogeo Marakwet to give people wheelbarrows?
Thank you,
When
David.
was the last time you went to
I will
see
answer
your
you.
governor? No, he's here. We are talking.
I'm answering.
We need
First,
to understand
Okay.
why it is only in Mount Kenya region where they are giving wheelbarrows and radicalizing the young people. Why haven't we seen those things in Elgeyo Marakwet?
Thank you,
Murkomen, go
David.
ahead.
First of all, let me start by saying that I don't know if you know what's Big Four agenda, David, because every example you give about Big Four agenda, you give
Food
about
security,
you give about no, you give
industrialization.
about no. Listen, you give about
Wheelbarrows
roads.
is not
hang on.
industrialization.
I
Murathe,
told you,
let
you
him now
have to
respond.
listen. When you talk about Big Four agenda, you need to know what are Big Four agendas. It's not the roads, it's not the electricity,
Healthcare.
it's not all those. The things
It
we
is
talked
healthcare.
about
It's
as
food
Jubilee,
security.
I want to
It is
remind you.
manufacturing.
Okay.
Because,
David
because
Murathe.
the examples you've been giving, the example, you have to find a way of holding David Murathe because he's not in a situation where he can compose himself or he's
Yeah,
not
when
in
you
control.
cannot argue, you start saying
He's
people
not in
are under
control of
influence.
himself.
But Murkomen, you're not going to get away with
Honorable
this one.
Murathe.
Can I answer
Just
the
tell
question?
people
Let Murkomen
what
finish.
have you done to help the president to achieve his agenda
Okay.
Now
for the
listen.
Big Four,
Okay.
which you're saying is
Honorable
universal health care. You are talking about food security, manufacturing. What are you saying?
Can you listen now? As I said, Waiga, you have to find a way of controlling David because he's unable to control himself because of the situation he is in. Now, the issues we are raising here is about the Big Four
Kuja
agenda.
tukunywe na wewe.
The project, I told you stop drinking when you come to the show. The issue we are dealing with here is about the Big Four agenda. Big Four agenda is about universal health care, it's about manufacturing, it's about housing, it's about food security. And as I said, most of these things have between the pilot project that took place in Nyeri and Isiolo and Kisumu, that was the end of universal health care. The question of food security, the plans we had for irrigation of food security stopped. I like the fact that you keep referring to this. I like the fact that you admitted that you are an agent in Twake, but you also admit that you benefited over 2 billion shillings. And even though you are saying the project is going on...
Are you an agent in Aror?
Even though the project is going on, I am glad you are admitting that you gained. But let me tell you about Aror and Kimware.
Are you an agent in Aror?
The DPP was outrightly on record that the Deputy President is not under investigation, is not a suspect.
Are you under investigation?
Murkomen, for your record, is not a suspect. To the contrary, I'm among the people who are
Is there anything on the ground in Kimware and Aror?
So I don't know what we will do because now we need to have a conversation. So the issues we are discussing here, don't jump to Aurora and Kimwarer. And please, David, respect the Deputy President, the Deputy Party leader of your party.
Oh, we can even go to Isaredam, by the way. Eh?
Every time you discuss the President and the Deputy, do it with a lot of decorum and behavior, because you are an employee or a servant of both.
I'm discussing you.
If we can't, if Murathe is not going to keep quiet, I'm not going to be able to make my point.
Let me ask this question, gentlemen.
If he can control,
let me ask this question. Which
can I complete? I haven't responded.
Let me ask, and you'll be the first to respond.
Yeah.
Allegations of corruption, back and forth, back and forth. Kenyans don't know who to believe anymore or who to trust. Does that say anything about Jubilee's record in the war on corruption? Because at this moment, the more you finger point, the harder it is to tell who's right and who isn't. Murkomen, you can start.
I was responding to the question of, no, that one is for the record. Every person who is a suspect in corruption, there are institutions of government that are dealing with those issues. Like the DPP went on record to say the Deputy President has never been a suspect in Kimwarer, and he is not. And that is the end of the game. Murathe, by his own admission, has said he received the money he received from Twake, but as an agent, as a businessman. And I have not quarreled about that. I just said the Hustler Nation does not believe that that is the right way of earning a living. But let me come back to the question of BBI. First of all, we are not under an obligation to support or oppose BBI or to campaign for or against. And there is nothing wrong for campaigning for or against BBI. Number two, amending the constitution cannot be a government agenda. In fact, amending the constitution through popular initiative was never anticipated under the constitution, 2010 constitution, to be the way the constitution is supposed to be amended. What we take issue with the amendment of the constitution through BBI is the fact that this process first is we're using force, we're using government agencies, we are not facilitating both sides of no or yes, we are victimizing people who want to say no. The process, and I want to remind you, Mzee Mwai Kibaki was a gentleman, President Mwai Kibaki was a gentleman. In 2010, William Ruto, Naomi Shaban, Samuel Pokisho, and many other cabinet secretaries went for no. They did their no campaigns, they completed, the president didn't sack anybody, they ensured that they continue serving until the end of their term, because the president was a Democrat. He was a person who believed he knew that if a constitution which was negotiated for 20 years was going to be safeguarded, you need to create an environment where both ideas are going to be served. But this idea where everyone is, every time they stand up to speak, they keep saying, you know, why don't you go to no? Why must we go to no? We can get a process, and we've said it is possible to achieve a process of a win-win. We gave our first win-win. We managed to safeguard so many issues in the draft amendment. We have now gone ahead to say we would like the amendment of the Constitution to be given a chance for multiple choice referendum, so that then the people of Kenya can choose the things that are positive for them and throw away the things that are negative, including the questions that are related to undermining the authority of the judiciary. These are the things that we want to enrich the debate, but their simplistic minds just want to see the person who is leading bananas and the one who is leading oranges, the one who is in no and the one who is in yes. We do not think that this country requires that level of simplistic thinking. We believe that as a nation, if you want to have a process of amending the constitution, that process must be sober. It must not be sanctioned by force, intimidation, intimidating governors, arresting people and take them to court, so that they can be able to come and sing BBI and be released. Okay. Those kind of processes are not the best ways of dealing with amending the Constitution. It's actually counter to the spirit of the Constitution.
You have the time bottle.
Murathe, go ahead.
The one that tells them it's time to shut up. Because these same guys who voted no, the reason some of us voted yes is because the President Kibaki convinced us that 80% of this constitution was good, 20% we can look at after. Now, it is an irony that the same people who were saying no to the 2010 constitution are the ones who are now saying it's perfect and we do not even need to look at it. And in democracy, You cannot have a referendum question. You have a bill, and Murkomen is a lawyer, and he's trying to mislead Kenyans. This thing from MCAs will go to Parliament. Parliament will debate it. It will go back to the IBC, who will frame a question, a referendum question. This is what is before you. Do you support? Say yes. Do you not support? Say no. Why has he now admitted that government is promoting the yes and somebody else is promoting the no? So he actually admits that there is a no formation.
There is.
Why can't they just come out openly?
There is a no formation.
Because every weekend they go out there, their agenda is to derail the BBI. And the Building Bridges Initiative and the handshake were meant to unite this country.
Okay.
They were meant to stabilize this country. They have enabled us to have peace. If we could shake hands with William Ruto and Murkomen, people whom we had a bad confrontation in 2008, what was wrong with shaking hands with Raila, Odinga and the ODM and the NASA people, so that we can have a stable country, an environment, create an enabling environment for this country to continue? And I want to answer that last question that the viewer asked, Wahiga. It's about the infrastructure and the expenditure that we are doing will never be done again. If you do the railway, it won't be done again. If you do the roads, they'll never be done again. If you do a power line, it will never happen again. It means we are investing in infrastructure development. We are not investing in consumption. Some of these people want to invest in importing maize and sugar and rackets. But the president is focused on a solid investment base, which is what they are not supporting him to achieve because of the disruptions that they are introducing with all these narratives of rich versus poor. There's nothing wrong with hustlers. There's nothing wrong with hustling. Some of us has hustled. And for this guy's information, at 35, I was the largest computer company in this country. I was IBM business partner, doing more than 100 million a year. When his friends Kinagashagwa were deals earning 3,500 and killing our people in Molo and Limuru.
Okay.
So
David,
we cannot
David
go there.
Murathe,
and this is a
David Murathe, let's have a civil conversation, please. Let's have a civil conversation, please. If anyone has murdered anyone, there are courts to handle that.
Debate. But they know there are assassins.
There are courts, there are police officers.
Those things are there. I have all the files. By the way, some of these fellows, very soon, if we can straighten out the prosecutorial system, they will no longer be able to hide. They can run, but they can't hide.
Let me ask you this.
They know it. And that's why they're hiding under politics. They're politicizing crimes.
I have a question for both of you. David Murathe first, and then
corruption,
hang on
and
there.
Crimes against Kenyan people.
David Murathe, I have a question for you and a similar one for Murkomen. Let me start with you, David Murathe. You've talked about straightening the prosecutorial system of this country. Kenyans are still waiting to know the truth about KEMSA. Is it true, possibly, that politically connected individuals could have supplied the goods there, and that could be the reason for the delay? You seem to know a lot. Why the delay on that? You respond before I ask.
I know a lot.
Why the delay?
I know a lot because they tried to politicize the KEMSA supply system. And I know because I volunteered to go to the EACC and give my side of the story. I challenge these people who have information which can help the investigative agencies to go to the EACC and give stories. The story died because they needed to use that as propaganda. By the way, these guys are very good with propaganda. I know the names of the companies that supplied KEMSA. I know the ownership of those companies. Wahiga, I can give you, not in confidence, in public.
My question
and
is,
all associated with the Deputy President.
David Murathe, I don't want the names because I'm not the police. Why the delay? That's what Kenyans want to know tonight. Why the delay?
Because that is the forte of the Director of Public Prosecutions. He's given investigations. He determines where they can sustain a case. Last week, the state law office, the advisory from government said they can actually go ahead and pay those suppliers because they looked at the prevailing prices when those people were supplying. Were they exaggerated? These were negotiations between suppliers and between KEMSA, and they agreed. You were buying a mask at about 900 shillings when the pandemic started. Today, you can buy a whole 50 masks with a 1,000 bob. So it's a question of, it's so easy to go into a supermarket and find out how much was you selling a PPE during the time KEMSA was negotiating with these suppliers.
Okay.
And remember also, we had an emergency, Wahiga. The reason you had a nurses strike is because those nurses were not being kitted. They were not getting PPEs. They were not getting masks.
Okay.
And they were going on strike, and yet you had all these masks and kits at the KEMSA stores. Give them to the nurses, then deal with the procurement procedures, negotiate the prices prevailing at the time of importation, and maybe even the prices prevailing now.
Okay.
Negotiate with those suppliers. Wahiga, I have never done business with government. And Murkomen knows that.
Hang on there. Murkomen, same question to you, but on a different issue. Murathe asked you repeatedly about Aurora and Kimwarer. Do you have any interest there, personally?
If I had an interest, Wahiga Maura, yes, I have an interest in Aurora and Kimwarer, and I've said it over and over again. Aurora and Kimwarer are in Elgeyo Marakwet County. Projects that are meant to irrigate Kerio Valley, generate electricity, employ young people, sort for us the insecurity that we have in Kerio Valley between us and TRT constituency. Definitely I have an interest. Being a leader from Elgeyo Marakwet, I have a 100% interest. The people who are being accused of impropriety have been charged in court. And as you must have seen in the news today, they are yet to get evidence, and they have been given 2 weeks by the DPP has been given 2 weeks by the court to supply evidence to the persons who have been charged. So the question of whether that there was impropriety or not is going to be answered by court.
Okay.
But where I stand as Murkomen, I believe that it was more than just pursuing process of dealing with corruption. Because the same dams, the same projects were going on in Nakuru, the same project was going on in other parts of the country, and I think we are following very keenly as the people of Elgeyo Marakwet County when these court cases will end and when the projects will resume. The good news, Maura, is that the contracts were not cancelled. The good news is that the government is still committed to paying for the contracts. We believe that in the fullness of time, the projects will commence again in Elgeyo Marakwet County, because it's impossible for the government to cancel the contract. If they were so sure that there was corruption and money was stolen, they would have cancelled the contracts by now.
Gentlemen,
now, if you look at what my friend David is talking about...
No, I'm going to have to stop you there because...
On the question of KEMSA, I just want us to be very candid. I don't know whether now he's saying, let's negotiate and pay those people, or he's saying they should be investigated. I don't know. He's speaking from both sides of the mouth. On the first instance, he said the investigation, there's a delay, they should be charged, they are connected. On the other, he has said, why don't we just negotiate and pay people and supply the PPEs? That is the confusion that exists when people are dishonest.
We're going to have to stop. We're going to have to stop it there. I want to get a final response from both of you. It's a two-in-one question. Please keep it brief. We have gone way past our time. Where will Jubilee Party be mid-next year? And also, I'm sure Kenyans watching this program tonight are asking, is there hope for me as a Kenyan when it seems like the political class are embroiled in this back and forth that we've seen here tonight and might not really focus on what's good for the ordinary Kenyan? Murathe, keep it under 30 seconds if you can. Please, let me start with you.
Jubilee as a party is going to get stronger. We know the formation of political parties is not mass. In China, out of 1.4 billion, the membership is only 80 people. So you are looking at very committed, dedicated persons. UDA as a party, I don't know where they will be this time next year with their hustler narrative, but you can see they are already popularizing another outfit which they claim to be in coalition with Jubilee.
Okay.
And for our purposes and intents, we are not worried, but even as you have those coalition arrangements, they should remember there are also exit clauses, and both parties are free to get out of those coalitions.
Okay.
So for people to hide under the coalition arrangements with PDR, which they have since named as a UDA, they can run, but they can't hide forever. But Jubilee as a party, we are going to build it. We are going to do grassroots and party elections, and we are going to form alliances with like-minded formations, and we are going to face off with those people who don't think like us.
Okay. And Murkomen?
Jubilee has a choice to make, and the choice is based on the leadership that is in office, including Murathe. Jubilee can either by next year be like the KANU after 2002, or be like PNU after 2008 elections, which became shell parties soon after the president was in office left, or it can continue being a strong party if they are going to put the house in order. You know, at the moment, Jubilee is busy chasing people, and you can see from Murathe the excuse is that we better have 80 committed people and chase the others. They are busy chasing people, and there is a possibility that in a short while, the people who are outside are more than those who are inside. By the way, Waiga, I want to remind you, in the Senate, the caucus that of the people who've been chased from Jubilee, we are 20. And the ones who have remained in Jubilee coalition, even when you include KANU and PDR, they only remain 17. And you know, our reason, we received recently Senator Kangata and Senator Maura as part of the people who are being chased to this coalition caucus. So I'm giving you as an example. Even the majority of the people within Senate to start with, there are more people in the Jubilee side who are outside than those who are inside. And if they continue like that, you can be sure that if these issues are not sorted, Jubilee by 8th of August 2022 might become a shell party.
Gentlemen,
but if they can put the house in order, go back, retrace their steps, go back to their first love, and find the best ways of reconciling themselves and work as a team, it could find itself as a party that can outlast the term of current president.
That is where we're going to leave this discussion. Thank you so much to my guests.
No,
We've had David.
You have to let me answer that one.
Then we'll have a back and forth. We are going to have to stop it here, David Murathe.
But those numbers, every time they talk about those numbers, the other numbers prevail. Maybe the only numbers they talk about are phone numbers of the people they call on a daily basis.
Thank you. Let's leave it at that. David Murathe, Vice Chair of the Jubilee Party.
It is only fair for me to say that, as a matter of fact, David Murathe and team never got the numbers to remove Kangata. And he knows that. That's why they hid the report. So they know very well. And Murathe, you know, you never even removed me because you never got the numbers to remove us. We just thank God that Lusaka exists.
Let's leave that discussion here. David Murathe, Kipchumba Murkomen, thank you so much. That is, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, the state of the nation, the state of the ruling party. You be the judge. That's where we wrap this up. Thank you for watching Newsnight. My name is Wahiga Mwaura. Our sign language interpreter tonight has been Wilson Mushora. On behalf of the whole team that's made this broadcast possible, thank you for tuning in. We'll do this again next week, same time, same station. Have a good night, stay safe, and dare I add, God bless Kenya. Good night.